Good evening. Welcome to Cut Deep Season 2, Episode 8. The concept of Cut Deep was developed with a focus on encouraging the wider public to think more in depth on issues that plague us, encouraging persons to have a voice and to use that voice to invoke change. Cut Deep is an interactive platform, cutting through the noise and political rhetoric. It is raw, uncut, challenging you to think critically. What do the issues mean for us? What part do we play? It is a platform that will move the Virgin Islands toward unified, integrated success. I am Cindy Roseanne Jones, your host. I would like to acknowledge Blossoms Florist for continuing to keep my set beautiful with gorgeous floral bouquets. Blossoms Florist is located in the Cutlass Building on Waterfront Drive and is available for all your floral needs. They can be contacted on 284-494-3906 or follow them on Facebook at Blossoms Florist. My gorgeous hair and usually makeup credit goes to the awesome McKelly's Beauty Salon just around the corner in the Hewlett Building. McKelly's is a full-service beauty salon offering services from head to toe. They can be contacted on 284-441-7404 or follow them on Facebook and Instagram at McKelly's Beauty Salon. I thank both of these businesses for their support of Season 2 of Cut Deep. We have two dynamic guests in studio tonight, but we'll take a quick break and come right back to introduce them.
The win! Oh!
What are the hell?
I'm freaking out!
Is time.
284 Music.
Coming to you live and direct from the beautiful British Virgin Islands.
What's poppin', what's really good, what's happening, what's up?
Davis has won it for the Lakers!
Welcome back to Cut Deep Season 2, Episode 8. On tonight's show, we're discussing a heavy hitter, entertainers in politics and business. As mentioned, we have two dynamic guests tonight by my very good friend Dirk Walters and Glendon Lamoth, better known as NJAR, whom I consider a friend as well. Guys, welcome to the set of Cut Deep. This is a heavy hitter set. I know I have two heavy hitters here tonight, and so I'm excited to have this conversation with you, and it's more a conversation than an interview. So I'm just gonna ask you real quickly to introduce yourselves to our audience. I'll start with you, Dirk.
Okay.
Or Dirky.
Either one works well. Thank you very much for having me here and inviting me. I'm elated to be here. It's always fabulous to be in a company of great persons. I am, as you all know, Dirk Walters. Everyone calls me Dirky. Musician, community activist, all around great guy. Political activist, you name it, entrepreneur, coach, you name it, Dr. Phil at times.
Absolutely, you're my Dr. Phil sometimes,
Yes.
and you're the head of one of my favorite bands.
Yes.
Oh, not one of my favorite, Extreme. It doesn't matter who's there, Extreme is my favorite band. And thank you for this awesome mask.
You're most welcome.
Well packaged,
Yes.
as you do it. So lovely to have you on the show.
Thank you.
NJR, the biggest.
It's my pleasure to be here finally on Cut Deep. The seat is kind of hot actually, Doc. It's very, very hot. The public, my name is Glendon NJAR. I'm a father. I'm just a good community person. I'm an artist as well. I'm an entrepreneur. It's overall good guy, man. It's my pleasure to be here with you, Cindy, the governor.
Yes, you call me the governor. Thank you, guys. Okay, we're going to start out slow, and I'm just going to ask you guys to just, tell us about the different ventures that you're involved in. Okay. I'll start with you, NJR.
Well, I'm an artist, as first. I'm dropping a business called Lamoth's Earn Experience soon. By January 1st, that business will be available.
Island Experience.
Okay? So it's catering, it's rentals, and a driving school.
Okay.
Because I feel like as an artist, you have to attach your brands to things outside of music. That's how you make money. You understand what I'm saying? You don't really make money off of music as an artist in the BVI per se. So you make money off of the things that you attach your brand to. This is my shirt. I can show you my shirt. Lamar's an experience. What do you think about the color, Cindy?
I love the color.
Okay.
It's kind
You
of
know, rentals, driving, school, and a catering service. You know, so you have to put your brand, attach your brand to different things outside of music. That's how you make money. Because as an artist, you're also a visible person, one of the most visible people in the community. So anything you attach your brand to will go. I know you could attest for that, Dirk.
Of course.
You know, it's bigger than just sitting and going on stage and doing music. It's bigger than just going in the studio and doing music. You have to find a way to generate some sort of income for yourself.
Diversify is one of the biggest words we've
Definitely.
been using for the past couple of years in the BVI. Diversifying things.
Exactly.
Dirk?
Yeah, definitely. Well, NJAR hit the nail on the head. Diversification, and this is something I've been preaching to other entertainers and young persons that have been in, you know, entertainment business for donkey years, as the old folks say, because that's something I've been doing heavily. You know, you can't just, like, I wouldn't be half as successful or accomplished as I am if I just made beats, if I just made rhythms, if I
Facts.
just wrote songs.
Facts.
You know, you have to diversify, you have to try different things, you have to show that you're versatile.
Facts.
Like, you have to be able to entertain any type of audience, any type of crowd, play for any type of event. So I do my best to do that. Because, like, for instance, I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, I'm an engineer. I don't just play music, I'm not just a musician. I'm an A&R, I'm a manager. You know, I could run a record label because I've worn all those hats. I still wear the hats of about 7 to 8 persons, even with just my band. And even with bands, I actually manage several groups with different persons in it. So it's not just extreme. I also own a production company. I do songwriting. You know, I have dealt with stuff like publishing and royalties and these things, work with major record labels and things of that nature. I've also deal with artist development, you know, where you have a lot of artists. And I always tell persons, the talent or the skill set is never enough. The skill sets that you really need to be successful are outside of the actual skill set of being able to sing or being able to play an instrument. You know, it takes discipline, it takes fiscal, financial responsibility. You know, it takes vision, foresight. It's a lot of different nuances and intricacies that come together to make the right package.
Facts.
NJ, I want to ask you, do you believe your company offers, what do you believe your company offer that is different from other rental companies, driving schools and catering companies?
Well, for me, it's just about giving somebody an experience. Because with my rentals, I'm going to have Wi-Fi in my rentals. So it's a different experience. When you come to Lamasan experience, you're not just renting a car. You're not just learning how to drive a school. You're not just getting food. You know, you rent from me for a week, you get a plate of food. You know, you in my rentals, you could save on your data, hook up to my Wi-Fi, if you understand what I'm saying. So you could have 15 million rental companies in a BVA or any sort of companies in a BVA. When you launch a business, you have to find a way to separate your brand and business from the rest. You understand what I'm saying? So I would say, don't be afraid to dabble into a barbershop because they have 5 or 6 different barbershops on the same road. You have to bring something else to the barbershop. You know, so with my business, I plan to do things be very innovative and offer you a different type of experience. You know, when you come to my driving school, I can teach you how to change a tire. I don't want to alcohol. Teach you how to change a tire. You know, dog, teach you how to survive on the road per se, because it's bigger than just swinging a key.
Give them a different experience.
Exactly. A lot of people
see,
a lot of ladies say they don't know how to change a tire. You come to Lamasan experience driving school, I can teach you how to change a tire. So your boyfriend can't leave you stranded on the road. I'm making sense.
You're making sense, but you know why I chuckled, right? You know there are guys who can't change a tire either. But do you believe your services are priced correctly to sasatisfy all your statutory obligations to the government?
I think so.
You think so?
I know so, because when you compare my price, my prices are gonna be from $70 to $85 a day to rent my vehicles. So,
but that's a standard cost.
But hold on, I giving you value for money because you renting a vehicle and you getting Wi-Fi and you getting a free plate of food. So when
but all of that costs for you.
Yeah,
and
but
you're still renting at kind of the same
well,
market.
I look at
rate.
it like this, right? I think my market, who I will be catering to, is for people who want an experience. If you're just looking to rent something for one day, I might not be the person for you. You understand what I'm saying? Because you will not be able to qualify for all the different value packages that I offer. But if you're looking to take a rental for 5 days, 6 days, 7 days, you're getting free Wi-Fi for 7 days. If you go to a cellular company to get Wi-Fi for 7 days, it might cost you about $30. You rent
Right, that's why I'm saying to you, do you think your prices then would?
Yeah, it's fair. I think it's fair.
Okay.
I think it's beyond fair, matter of fact.
Okay. All right. For both of you, do you believe business persons sufficiently focus on the state of the BVI as opposed to their own narrow goals? Do you believe business persons understand the BVI do well? If the BVI does well, that increases their chances to do well?
I think that definitely not enough of them do that. And we have this issue I've been preaching on for years. I don't like to even use the word preaching, but it's just reality. There are too many of us that don't display or genuinely have that national pride
Facts.
in our businesses, in our everyday lives,
Facts.
and even in our code of conduct, the way we carry ourselves, the perception of how other persons see us and things of these nature. And when you have a business, you need to understand, like me, as a business person, as an entertainer, someone that's in the arts, I carry the BVI on my shoulders and my back everywhere I go because I'm an ambassador for this country. You know, I'm one of the biggest patriots you will ever find for this country. So the thing is, a lot of businesses need to understand that. And there's nothing wrong either with collaborating with another business.
Differently.
Like, I look at things so drastically different from other persons, like even in the music industry. Like when I first started to collaborate with other persons, it was like unheard of at the time. You know, like everyone's stuck in their own little corner, in their own little bubble. And that was it. And I'm like, no, that's not the way to go, because all of us have a part to play in tourism and in the perception of the country. And you have to make sure you do things in your business that is going to generate that love and that vibrant feel for persons wanting to be here to come to your business.
Facts.
And even if you collaborate with another business, it's a win for you, it's a win for them, and most importantly, it's a win for the country.
Facts.
So like I remember we had days when we had rivals in the band and we would be out there playing and I would be selling the most CDs or whatever the case is, but every time we would go on the trucks, like whether it's parade or whatever the case is, I would always get on the mic and say, listen, thanks for buying an Extreme CD, but make sure you buy a CD from such and such and such, because I want to see them win. I can't relate to persons that don't want to see anyone else rise.
Yeah.
None of us are Tam and Tree. I won't be around forever.
Facts.
Yeah.
You know, and I want to see all my colleagues, even my rivals, win. That's the difference between me, myself, and most other persons. So that's how people have to look at it. It's the overall picture. It's bigger than you. It's always bigger than you. No one person
It's an island.
is bigger than the institution. Never.
And Cindy, just to add on a little bit to what Dorky said, I want to make something clear. And that's to the entrepreneurs at home. Charging less for your service or trying to undercut the market doesn't always mean that you're going to win. So if Dorky's charging $5 for a haircut, and I just charge $2 for a haircut to undercut Dork, I kill in the market. And all of us try to undercut the market, but none of us win that way. If you want to drop a
'Cause
business,
it's not sustainable.
Exactly. If you want to drop a business, make sure you add value to the business. If you understand what I'm saying? So
Facts.
undercutting the market, in my opinion, is you thieving yourself. You're not only robbing from yourself, but you're robbing from your competition, because you can't even afford to maintain your business at the price you charge.
Right. Correct. What do you guys see as the greatest shortcomings with BVI artists?
You want to go first, Dorky?
You're young, love. You go first, because you know how I stay already.
You know, Cindy, I'm so passionate about this because, like Dog said, how long you been doing music, Dog?
Close to 30 years.
Okay. We don't have that support from the powers that be. If you understand what I'm saying. You go there, you invest in yourself, you know, you get your music recorded properly, but the powers that be don't offer the proper support to artists in the BVA. And I'm gonna make an example. I don't know if you remembered the pressure, not the pressure, when Buju Banton came.
Yes.
You could remember who came on just before Buju Banton? I think I said this before.
I
think it was Pressure.
Thank you very much. So, people are, when we speak on these things, people think that as artists we are looking for a handout. No, as the powers that as B, I need you to put us in a proper position to be seen, to be heard, if you understand what I'm saying. If we bring in an international artist to perform, why not put a local artist just before the international artist comes on to give that local artist the exposure, if you understand what I'm saying. These are the things that they can do and they're not doing, and we're hurting as a music industry in the BVA because we don't have the proper structure, we don't have the proper things in place. You know, no diss to the radio stations, I salute all of them, but our music is played on the radio stations 24/7, we don't get a penny from that. And that's why most artists, we have to work a 9 to 5 because music cannot sustain us. Music can't pay our bills. You have to work a 9 to 5 as an artist in the BVA if you want to be successful, because the money you make off of music cannot sustain your livelihood. And it goes back to making something for yourself outside of the music. You have to attach your brand to different things. Like I do it for my mother, Boot 3. I attach NJAR brand to Boot 3. So my supporters would come out and support Boot 3. That's money in my pocket, money in my family pocket. You don't make, and I'm going to keep saying this, you don't really make any money in the BVA off of music per se, unless you start to attach your brand to different things. That's why wearing this hat, shout out OG like Designer Bumpy, because he's somebody I really respect. He gets it.
Yep.
You know, you see him out there
OG
selling his
worldwide.
you know, he's selling his shirts. Like we have to treat ourselves as creatives, as artists, as a brand. You could take NJAR and put NJAR on a bread. You understand what I'm saying? So you gotta understand how to market yourself. Else you're just gonna be doing music on a stage and ain't collecting any money.
The one thing I like to say on top of what you just said, NJAR, it's a two-way street. We also have to understand that as an artist, you have to do what it takes on your end to build a buzz, because you cannot expect open arms. Don't always expect a warm welcome. I always tell persons this, how far are you willing to go? Because while I agree with what you're saying, right, it also comes down to what has the artist done to put him or herself in that position. Have you done some marketing? Do you have a strong online presence in these times? Do you have your music readily available on any streaming platform or even YouTube? Do you go by the market? Have you ever gone on the beach and set up and made a sound system and stuff and play it for free to build your repertoire up and get fans buzzing about you? You have to bring something to the table.
So you got to pay your dues.
So you have. It's not just even paying your dues. Before you even get to paying your dues, you have to put in the work. It's hard sweat equity. You have to put in the work. So I've seen you do this. I've seen countless persons. I've done this. And my thing is, you look for support from other persons, whether it's the government, the powers that be, all these huge businesses, these conglomerates. But what have you put up? You spend thousands of dollars on belts and shoes and jackets and all this stuff, but when it comes to paying for production, someone charges you $500. Oh, that's too much. Someone charges you $2,000 for studio time. Oh, that's too much. So how come it's okay for you? You can spend all your money taking these girls out. You can spend all this money on these clothing and these things, but you don't invest in your craft. Like I used to put my own money up. Like I had issues where I would clash with promoters because they weren't doing things right on there, and I'm like, why would I worry about them doing it when I could do it for myself? So I stopped working for promoters for a long period of time, and I started a successful promotion company, right? And I started bringing in the same bands, the same DJs they were bringing in, and blending myself. And I gave, at the same time, I gave opportunities to local DJs and musicians and artists who otherwise wouldn't have gotten a chance. And I'm proud to say that these persons have gone on and became household names, made names for themselves. So I'm just using this as an example, bro. To say, yeah, we can look for them to step up and do what they have to do, but never actually sit down and wait for it. You know, because if you sit down and wait for it, it's not going to happen. You have to create your own economy sometimes. You have to create your own vibe, your own world.
Well, Dorky.
Simple as that. But I do agree with what you're saying, because it's not enough. Like you go other places, right? They need to understand your culture and your music, your arts is part of your identity. That's your unique identity, and it should be a part of your tourism product as well, and a part of your export as well. So that's why more needs to be done. Like we're in the year 2020. Why don't we have a Virgin Islands School of the Performing Arts in the year 2020? Just for an example. You know, we need more resources to go into the music programs in the schools to develop the arts.
Well,
you
I'm
know,
going to ask
so
you
we could
guys
cultivate
two
these
things
talents.
that follow up, because you talked about copywriting and royalties, and then we also have in the makeup of our present government administration, there are quite a few artists in
Facts.
there
Oh,
yes.
across
That
the
is
board.
true.
Definitely.
That is true.
Music, poetry, writing. So maybe you guys want to touch a bit on how they can help out, or the shortcomings with them, how to go about royalties and copywriting, and the importance of that with your music, and how to make music from that, and just that quick touch on that.
So, first of all, Cindy, right? A lot of us locals, I had to learn. I would ask Dirk a question. I would ask Ju a question. I would ask Dante a question. We need to start having simple seminars, simple sit-downs, and educate artists as how to just copyright your music, how to register with BMA, how to register with ASCAP, how to upload your music to iTunes, how to upload your music to the different monetary platforms, because getting 100,000 plays on SoundCloud is not beneficial to you. Unless your music isn't on a monetary platform, you get no money in your pocket.
Right.
So you have 300,000 plays on SoundCloud, but your music isn't on iTunes. It doesn't count for anything, if you understand what I'm saying. So I think where the powers could come in is we have to start to bring in educated people from the music industry to come and teach.
But should we
aspiring
leave that to
artists.
them? Should we leave that to them? I remember, I think it was a few months ago, DJ Wiz, I think he did something on Virgin
Yes,
Water,
Wiz
and I
did
was
do
very
something
proud
like
of that. It was a conference for musicians, and he
Yes.
brought in some people
Okay,
too.
thanks.
So I feel like that's something that you guys can do.
We can.
Especially I see there, it continues. Like you just said, the beat continues.
Yeah,
There are a
the
lot
beat
of
goes
younger
on.
musicians and artists coming up behind you guys.
Facts.
So maybe you guys should start setting the platform with that. But then in terms of, say, the government, they're the ones that set legislations and stuff like that. What can they do to, I want to say, secure the music industry, where you say, if your stuff plays on the radio, you're paid for that.
Facts.
And people just can't just take up your
Facts.
music.
Facts.
Or, I see them do it a lot. You see logos all over the place. Nobody asks permission. And
Definitely.
you're like, it doesn't work like that. But I come from an international training, so I see these things. But what can they do to...
Well, I'm going to say one more thing before I let Dirk speak. It goes back simply to educating your artists. Because a lot of artists, Doki, they don't even know that a corporate entity can't take their music and put it on an ad without them getting paid. A lot of artists don't know that, Cindy. So it goes back to educating your artists. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you could make money so many different ways in the music industry. You don't have to be an artist. You could be a producer. You could be a stylist. You know what I mean? So you have to educate your artists as to there are 50 million different ways you could get back from the music industry.
Entertainment is a full industry.
You know what I'm saying? So everybody trying to be artists per se, but there's Rock City, who have made a living off of writing songs for the likes of Rihanna, Mario. We're not bringing Rock City to do a writing seminar to show your local artists how to write songs, and you could actually get a bag from writing music. You don't have to be the face. You know what I mean? So it goes back to educating your artists. I'm gonna let you take it over though.
Well, when you talk about educating your artists, first and foremost, artists need to educate themselves.
I agree.
I want to say, right, definitively that while the government, regardless of which administration is in, what they should be doing is helping to giving us an audience, right?
Yeah.
Having an audience with us and help to facilitate putting, the right structures in place. It's really not their job, to be honest, to say, oh, we need to educate artists and we need to make sure artists know about their royalties. What we need to do is come together, something I've been speaking on for years, and step to them now. Take it to them and show them, because sometimes persons just don't know, or they just don't see the value in what you're doing, and you have to, it's your job to show them the value. And then if they don't facilitate what you're doing after, then you take them to task.
Right.
So we need to come together as the entertainment industry, and this is not just about music. I want to make that perfectly clear.
Facts.
This is the arts, this is poetry, things like you were talking about royalties. Like we don't have anything in place. Like in Trinidad, you have the copyright office and stuff there.
Facts.
You have artists that know how to register with BMI, with ASCAP and stuff.
Facts.
I've done things there where I've even gotten mechanical royalties and things for songs that I've written and stuff in the past, and that I still receive statements and checks for to this day. And the thing is, we have to educate ourselves, but it takes coming together, because me alone going to the premier or going to the Minister of Culture, they don't have to listen to me.
Facts.
Even though I have a loud mouth and I have a platform, I have a voice.
Facts.
It's not for me, it's if I want it. I didn't wait on anyone. I went out and I educated myself and did what I had to do.
Facts.
And just to correct you, one thing, NJAR, there is a bag to get right here at home. You can live comfortably off of music here, but you just have to be willing to do what it takes. The thing what a lot of artists don't realize is, you can't sit at home and wait for things to happen. You have
Facts.
to make things happen yourself. Whether you put on your own events. If you want someone else to invest in you, why should anyone else invest in you when you are not even investing in yourself?
Facts.
That's
Totally.
my thing. So while I agree with everything what you said is twofold.
Facts, facts,
So
facts.
all artists need to step up. Also, we need to start being real with our young people. Like when you watch these different shows, like whether it's Gen Y or Gen X or whatever show you have, stop telling these people, yeah, you're great, you can sing.
Yeah.
Encourage them, yes, right. But how you gonna have a show? And this is why some people have an issue with me, because if you put me to judge a show, I remember judging a talent show where NJAR was on it already, and I was exceptionally harsh on him because I have a lot of love and respect for him, and I know his parents. I wasn't going to give him an 8 out of 10 when I know he has this much room for improvement.
Facts.
And make him feel like he only has this much room for improvement.
Right.
You have to be real to our young
Right,
people.
right.
And
I agree.
that's what's
I
missing.
agree, yeah.
That means if I give you an 8 or 9 out of 10, you have no room for improvement.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that he appreciates what I did for him
Definitely.
back then.
And if you feel that is just not your field, you say that is not your field. My daughter, Emily, she's very artistic. She loves the arts, the dancing and singing. And I think there's a place for her voice. She has a different voice.
Different type of
For
voice.
me, it doesn't fly. So I've said to her, I don't think you can sing. But, she feels she can sing. And then a couple other people said to me, why would you tell her that? I said, you think I want my daughter to go on a stage,
Facts.
make
And
herself
embrace
look like a
herself.
jack?
Yeah, facts.
But at
And
that same time,
so-
that doesn't necessarily mean she won't make it as a singer.
I agree.
Because she can bring something to the table.
That's why I said to her,
NJAR
I
call her
think her
name.
voice has a place.
NJAR call her name. One of the big, I think she is right now the richest female entertainer, which is Rihanna. When Rihanna first started, people laughed at her. Our own Caribbean people laughed at her because she's from Barbados, as you know, right? Oh,
She
she
look
can't
different.
sing, she looks different, she has that. But that's what made her unique. And look
Facts.
at her now.
Facts.
So it doesn't mean just because someone tells you, people told me I won't make it in music.
Facts.
People told me I was different. I had a different song and I had a different look. Every time I was listening, I was determined. And I know what I have is special. And up to now, you can put me on a stage with 20 other bands and not one will sound like me. I will not sound like one of them. That's what makes you unique.
Doc, I want to clear something, and you made a very good point. I think it's a collective effort because artists, they have to invest in themselves first.
Yes.
I totally believe in that, But this is why I'm calling on the powers that be, because we're seeing proceeds allocated to agriculture. That's what I'm saying. We're seeing proceeds allocated to everything except the arts.
I do agree.
And dog, let me tell you something, bro. I've been investing in myself for over 6-7 years when it comes to music. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of money to get out there, dog. You know this for yourself.
You're preaching not to the choir, you're preaching to the pastor.
It's bigger than just taking your song and putting it on SoundCloud. You know what I'm
Facts.
saying? So the reason I'm keep calling on the powers that be to allocate some funds to the arts is because I'm seeing funds allocated to everything else. Where is the funds for the arts? We need, after you don't invest in yourself, after you don't pay your dues, there's only so far you could go
Right.
without a push.
That is true.
If you don't get a push from the powers that be, you're gonna be right here.
And that's why I talked about these powers that be, because like 90% of them are in the arts.
I will tell you, I do think it's coming.
Okay,
Because there's conversations that's been had way before the present administration was even elected. And I know one or two of them that in there, they heavily believe in the arts, they
Facts.
heavily believe in the culture and tying it in with tourism and everything in terms of the perception and the view of the country. So I think it is coming, but we have to
Gotta
get
be patient.
together. We're kind of way behind in that aspect, but at the same time, it will be done. I'm not
So-
saying it can
so-
be done. I'm telling you because I would be at charge for it to get
Yeah.
done.
Well, the entertainment industry, what I'm understanding is that you guys need to become a united front then, a united voice to really, a force to get where you need to be in the
It-
BVI.
it
Because that's
does-
a while talking is enough.
But this is what I'm saying, and there have been
People
many-
tried.
There
People
have
tried.
been many strides, but then you see you put people off also by saying you're doing something for everyone, and
Facts.
then everything is reflecting on you.
Right.
That kind of will kind of put people off. Like when I do anything, I don't look for anything in it for me. You know, my thing is the person's coming after me, and not just bands, they're rappers.
Right.
You know, like
Just
to me,
across the
like I came from a time, Cindy, where there were persons that used to play fungi music and look at me with disdain.
Yeah.
Because of my style, and we kind of took up a different mantle.
Yeah.
And I started with steel band. I started with Shooting Star Steel Orchestra, and then get to the different stage and stuff like that. But eras change, times change, and that's what they are. Just like the rhythm box, as we call it, the drum machine,
That
has
guy.
become an official instrument.
Facts.
The same way rap is now part of Virgin Islands culture, whether
Facts.
you like it or not.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So times change.
Cultures
and-
evolve.
Yes. And well, you never. One thing I preach is you never totally throw away the foundation, of course. But we also have to embrace who we have now. What are we going to do? Shun the young people because they like
Right.
a little bit of rap?
Right.
Figure out what it is they're dealing with and try to cultivate their talents.
You touched on something really, really important, Doki. You mentioned a territorial song. You know what I'm saying? Why a local artist doesn't have the job to produce a territorial song for the BVA? We have talented people in the BVA. You know what I'm saying? Like, why isn't a local being used or a local song being used as a territorial song?
But we
for the
have a
BVA?
territorial
Well,
song.
the territorial song is there, and it
And
was
it's
actually
sang by a local
It was actually
artist.
sung by a local.
What's the song?
The territorial song.
No. I talking about wave, sing me. I talking about a song like that.
Oh, you're talking on
that's what I'm
that
saying.
level.
Well,
Oh,
there
okay.
are
a few.
because
There are a few of
when you
those as
said,
well.
When you said territorial song, I was like, you kind of
So that's what I mean. So that's my bad.
Take a break.
You know, like so a song like that, sing
Yeah.
that displays so much BVI
You mean
pride.
anthems, BVI
You know what I'm
anthems,
saying?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
like I
yeah.
say, dog, when I call on the powers that be, we really calling about money. We talking about an opportunity.
No, of course, and
You
that's
check what
why
I
I
say.
say
Give me an
for
opportunity.
them is for them to facilitate
Yeah.
what we're trying to accomplish.
Give
what
me
we're
an
trying to do.
opportunity to better myself, because when you travel outside of the BVA waters, the BVA is highlighted.
No, but trust me.
When
there-
I traveled outside of the BVA, I went to Jamaica. Where you from? You could pull up my interviews on YouTube, the BVA. So invest in your creatives, and your creatives will pay you back 10 times more.
Yeah.
But one thing, there have been a lot of, quite a number of persons that have tried and done things to help facilitate
Definitely.
the process. Like, I have to big up Miss Luz Hodge Smith.
Okay.
She took a set of us one time. We represented the BVI. We went to Trinidad and Tobago for Cali Festa. That was like for 10 days. So you had heritage dancers, you had lashing dance, you had extreme band, and things of that nature. You know, there are other persons as well that
Definitely.
push the envelope and trying to get us out there.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. It's not as easy as just saying it. But I just like to recognize persons that
Facts.
Have
put
done
forward
You
those
could put
efforts.
Myron there as honorable
Yeah,
Myron too.
definitely. I have to big up.
Yeah.
Have to big up Myron Wallen
Because
as well
he trained
because
too.
he
With it-
was the minister in charge of education and culture at the time. And
Definitely.
I'll never forget we had that issue with the bands traveling to BVI bands
Yeah,
traveling
right.
to USVI, and he spearheaded that whole thing.
Facts.
You know, he had meetings dealing with the
Facts.
deputy governor
Facts.
down in the USVI. That man really went all out. He held meetings with us. He said, Dorky, what is the issue? What will it take? What do I need to do? So I have to definitely big up to Myron Alwyn. Shout out to you for
Honorable
Okay,
Keynes, you
before-
just said something.
Definitely,
The crime,
definitely.
and also shout out as well
Definitely.
too.
So before we take a quick break, I wanted to ask you guys, do you think BVI entertainers are selfish?
A lot are. A whole lot of them are.
Is that what's kind of keeping you guys low?
Yes. A lot of them are selfish and self-absorbed and stuck in their ways. And it's a lot of grudge, it's a lot of envy and jealousy. You know, they don't understand camaraderie. They don't understand brotherhood. They don't understand one, looking out for the fraternity and the whole and not just them. It can never be all about you. You know, like my thing is, if you've been in this industry and you never put anyone else on, you've never done anything for anyone else, you are a failure.
Facts.
You are complete and utter failure.
I agree.
So, Dorky, would you think that energy stems from the frustration from not having the proper things in place where an artist could benefit? Because once certain things get in place, you become frustrated as an artist. You become wrapped up in your own thoughts. You become wrapped up in your own success. Because, listen, if you don't get a bag, nothing is put in place for you to get a bag.
Yeah, but I don't agree though, because
I'm just asking, like,
I
where it stems from.
know what I'm saying. I'm telling you, I don't agree with that part. I would never condone that because it's up to you. Nothing was handed to me.
Definitely.
I have to go out and get it.
Nothing
I
was
have to
handed
invest
to
in
me either.
myself. What I'm saying, I would spend money on plane tickets on boards just to do interviews. The hustle is the same.
Facts.
It's just a different era. No, and I don't understand what's the lack. The whole lack of aggression, the whole lack
drive,
of passion,
yeah.
the lack of energy, the lack of tenacity with these musicians and artists. To me, more than half of them are just flat out lazy and they lack initiative because I used to
Entitled?
catch planes, entitled, very entitled, and I used to catch planes and boats to go to the States, to go to the whole Caribbean, just to do interviews, spending my own money just to go sell CDs.
Brand
You know?
development.
I'm on a fishing boat the size of this table between Anguilla and St. Martin in the middle of the night, you know?
Bet on yourself. You
Different
basically,
things.
yeah.
I would drive from East End to West End just to use a phone. You know, I would catch a flight just to have an interview to talk with a promoter.
Yeah.
You know, I've never charged an artist for a dub plate from Extreme in my entire life because I look at it, what? I don't care how small this DJ is or what his
He
radio
gonna play.
personality
He gonna
is.
play.
He's gonna play. That's
a blight for you.
That's a blight for me. That's a blight for my country.
Yeah.
You know, I look at things differently. You have to spend to make, and scared money
Don't
don't
make
make
no
no
money.
money.
So, well,
Go through, Cindy.
well, this is Cut Deep. So we're going to take a short break and come back with the real questions for these guys. Welcome back. Like I said, I have two of the heaviest hitters, I think, in the BVI right now when it comes
What you
to
think you know.
I know when it comes to entertainment, politics, and so forth. And they both have their platforms, and so we're just gonna keep going because there are quite a few questions that I want to get in with these guys tonight. So here we go. We're gonna take it up a little notch. What do you believe artists do enough to stay engaged with the affairs of the territory? And do you believe the artists use their platform in the best way to inform and motivate?
No.
Nope.
Nope. And you see, Cindy, the thing about it is too, you have to stay engaged and stay informed as to what's taking place around you. Because once you speak for the people, on behalf of the people, those same people going to support you. So you can't say nothing about nothing and expect people to support you.
Yeah, I
And it's your
agree. I see.
responsibility as an artist.
I've had this conversation with a few of the artists around, and they tend to. I realize they would talk a lot of frivolous things. They don't really get into the situation of the day
Because
or
they
the
play
issues.
fencing.
They play fence, but I think there's also that scare for the victimization, which always comes
You
back.
know it. Come on, Doc, you know it.
It comes back on the bottom
I
line.
understand. I have experienced
Constantly.
this. I'm still experiencing some of this all now.
But
At the
some
end
people
of the
aren't
day,
bold as you to continue. Some people just can't carry that burden.
So would you
So-
rather die knowing that you didn't do what you had to do or what you should have done? That you had the opportunity to say something that could have changed someone else's life or perspective and you didn't?
I don't think a lot of us look that deep though, and I don't
was
think
just
a
gonna say
lot
that.
of us make the connection that if I don't speak about this, although it doesn't affect me right now, in 6 years
It
it,
can
might
affect-
be affecting me.
facts.
I didn't say anything, but
Cindy,
so I was just saying that in speaking to some of them, I realized the bottom line for some of them is victimization. They won't get a job. They won't
Facts.
call them to.
the bottom line is greed.
You know, Cindy,
money
A lot of
at the
them.
bottom.
Cindy,
Yeah.
you know, I know we can't sit too long on this topic, but it comes back down to being selfish. Because
Right.
a lot of artists at home, they only care about being on stage.
Right.
Once they're on stage singing, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
They
Here's
don't
my
care.
thing though. You afraid of victimization? Why? Like I already did everything from washing dishes to fishing. You think I'm afraid to do it again?
Yeah.
I'm a BVI lander. What are you gonna send me?
Yeah, in fact, probably should,
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I try to express the importance in platforms
Facts.
when there are people watching you. Platforms like yours, and I always say, why is it that they're not engaging the people that are following them? Because there's a serious side to life too,
Facts.
Yes.
right?
Facts.
So, would you encourage that? Like, how would you encourage other artists to try to
That's-
get more engaged in
In that
the
aspect.
country
And the community.
and how it affects?
Cindy, that's something that an artist has to want to be involved in. That has to be something you're passionate about your country, wanting to see your country excel financially, wanting to see your people grow. So I don't think you could pep talk an artist into being that way, into speaking. No, that's like look at Dorky. Dorky is a passionate guy. You had for politics.
You hit the nail on
You know
the
what I'm
head,
saying?
bro.
You can't teach passion. It's either
Yeah,
you're
you can't
passionate
teach
or you're
that.
not. So you can't pep talk and be like, yo, I think you no. It's either you want to see your people do well, you want to see your country move forward, or you're going to sit back, say nothing about nothing and perish.
Yeah.
That's simple.
Because
Yeah.
once it doesn't directly affect them, they don't really care about it.
And
I
we're
want to
having a serious problem with that.
Facts.
Yes, I want to see my entire country prosper and everyone, whether they could vote or not.
Facts.
You understand? Everyone that resides in this country, I want to see everybody prosperous, healthy.
Facts.
There was a music alliance that was formed some years ago. Why did that fall apart?
I have no idea. I went to a few of the meetings in terms of that alliance. They came with some really great ideas, you know. We conceptualized things, we came together and spoke. There were a few events thrown, and then after that, you know, there was president, vice president, treasurer, all of these things were put in place. And then all of a sudden there were a few events and it was kind of like, I heard rumblings, but I don't want to speak on it because I was not directly involved. I wasn't a part of the team, so it's not my place to speak
Okay.
on it.
I don't want to speak on it either because
You
I
don't
don't
know.
really know too much about it, so
Okay.
I won't say anything.
Do you believe corporate BVI takes more from the BVI than it gives?
Most of them do.
Definitely.
What can they do? What can they do for the music industry? Or does it go back to you wanting more and putting yourself out there to be?
I think
And then
that-
they attach to your brand.
Facts. I think they could treat the artists. They could partner with not only artists but more people that offer things to the BVI. If you understand what I'm saying, Doki. Like it's more than just music. We have artists. We have people like Dirk. You know, we have a lot of different arts, not just music. You know, so I feel like the corporate companies could partner with a lot of us. You know, we give them what we offer, and we work out something. So they need to start to build up partnership with local creatives. You understand what I'm saying? It's bigger than just money. It's more of an opportunity to own than just paying somebody up front. Give me an opportunity so I don't have to ask you for money.
Well, it has happened in the past. I've been a part of that many times.
I've seen it happen before,
it's
yes.
Still, it's still happening now. Not as much or as large, by and large, as it should be or could be.
Facts.
But at the same time, we have to also say these artists, like whether they're poets, whether they, you know, they have you know, the actual artists drawing and stuff, or the musicians, singers, whatever the case is. Once again, what do you really bring? What's your value? What do you bring to the table? Why
Facts.
should a conglomerate or a corporate entity partner with you? Do you conduct yourself in a manner that's becoming of an artist, a
Facts.
public figure?
Facts.
There's a lot of things that goes into this. Like I've signed contracts with huge multi-million-dollar companies, and like they have to put things in place to protect themselves because
Of course.
you're a reflection of their image and their brand.
Facts.
And it's the
Facts.
same thing with me. Like I tell band members and musicians and people, persons that I work with, you're a reflection of me, whether I like it or not. So you need to conduct yourself in a certain manner. When you're on stage, when you're at a bar cooling out, you have to present yourself a certain way. Even if it's two people, the difference between me and the average person or musician, entertainer is whether it's 2,000 or two people in front of me, I give them
Your
the
performance
same
is the best.
amount of
Facts.
energy,
I
the
agree.
same performance. I don't care because I want those two persons to go and tell 2 more and 10 more and 100 more. Listen, there wasn't really one there at that particular event. Well, those guys perform, you know, and you have to interact with the crowd.
Yeah.
How is it you're on stage, right? People spend money and you're standing up on stage and you want to tell people, put your hand in the air. I just paid money to come in here. You put your hand in the air and then let the energy from you come on me, and I might put my hand in the
But
air.
you cannot teach that though.
And then people are watching you perform, you on the stage and you up there sitting down. Really? I'm like, simple things like people spending money to come out time after time and you don't even get on the mic and show them the respect to say thank you for coming. You could have been anywhere else in the world. Thank you for coming to this event.
Yeah.
We love seeing you. We hope you come. And simple things like that. People will always appreciate and respect the effort. And that's what you have to do.
In moving home, I realized that so some of this goes back to like sponsorship for events and different things, and you'd always get the complaint from the local, the corporate companies don't get involved and they don't da-da-da-da-da. And I'm saying to them, you have to take a look at the businesses that are here. They're not here on their own. They have an international corporation that they belong to.
Yes.
And as you were saying, Dirk, the brand connection has to be right. They're not. It's a representation of them. So when they give you a sponsorship, I know that there are people around here that give sponsorships, but their names don't go on flyers because
they don't want attached. They don't want attachment. I got you.
But they want to help.
Okay.
So I think we need to be more serious about our brand and brand development and how we look at ourselves, put ourselves forward for corporate companies to say, I am going to attach myself to this person or to this brand. The brand is more than a person, but to this brand. And so I think that's something that local companies have to understand, local entertainers across the entertainment industry. I don't have to do anything for you as a company. I don't have to sponsor you.
That's my whole thing.
Yes,
nothing is handed. Nothing is handed.
There is a corporate duty, and I think they want to be involved, but they still have to manage the effects on their brand. So,
and put it this way,
thought
Cindy,
for consideration.
Just to interject quickly there, if they're going to spend money or if they feel like they have money that they could, throw into, why wouldn't they take that money and put it into a charitable cause or something else? You want them to take that money and put it into you, but what are you bringing to the table? What are you delivering? You understand? Like what will it profit them? Not meaning that it's going to profit them money per se, but brand recognition, brand equity.
It goes back to educating the artists because these corporate entities and corporate companies, they have the money to spend, but as a lot of us locals, we don't understand how to approach these companies to partner with them. So I've seen artists come into a company looking for a sponsorship. They got slippers on their feet. Their hair ain't done.
Yes.
They shot. I mean, ain't no diss to anybody. They shot
it is
their
what it
eye on,
is.
but it is what it is.
It's reality.
So it goes back to what I was saying first, Dirk and Cindy. Educating your artists. You understand what I'm saying? Make sure they understand the importance of carrying themselves like a public figure 24/7.
Yeah, but at the same time, NJAR, there's certain things that you should inherently know. You should know to have a certain level of etiquette and conduct and these things and appearance and presentation. These are things that no one should have to teach you. As an
Dirk,
individual.
I find there are a lot of different cultures evolving in the BVI right now, and you'd be surprised what you need to teach our young people. So,
I understand that.
They need a bit of bringing up.
I understand,
and it's
but
based on their
you just
situation.
touched on a whole lot of...
which we're not going to go on on this
facts.
thing. I want to ask you guys, I want to take it up a notch with you guys. I want to ask you some questions, maybe about the governor. Like, how do you guys feel on him holding off on the marijuana legislation so far? Just a quick view. Do you think he's done the right thing? Do you think he's taking his time to make sure that we're about to cut deep, guys?
Go, bro.
Sydney, you want me to be quite honest with you?
With the public.
With the public. I have nothing against the governor taking his time, because I understand he has a responsibility to keep things partial and fair. That's his job. Right or wrong, that's his job. But I must say sometimes, like right now, I think he's going a bit too far. That's all.
Okay, well then I can touch on that with you because you have a lot of comments on the UK's agenda, and so we can add that into what came about this week then, or last week in terms of.
I seen you saw my post.
I didn't agree with it. I did see it.
I understand, but what I'm gonna say is that when I read the post, I know Dirk laughing. when I read the post, you know, and a lot of people took the post like I took it. I felt like
How did you take it?
I felt like he was trying to, well, the media was trying to twist his words and make it seem as though he was trying to make the BVA the face of illegal activity. And I don't like that because illegal activity is worldwide. You check what I'm saying? So it rubbed me the wrong way. And I just didn't like the word he used. Why he used unexplainable funds?
Unexplained wealth.
Unexplained wealth.
Unexplained
Which
wealth.
is something around the world.
But
Facts.
That
It's deeper
term,
than-
that
I'll let you
term.
finish and then I'll.
And you know, it's deeper than quote unquote drug money. It's deeper than, it's just deeper than drug money. Ain't all drug money. You know what I'm saying? But unexplainable wealth is worldwide. Don't make the BVA the face. Like, don't try to portray the BVA as this is the only place where things like this happen.
You think he was doing that?
I think the media was doing that.
Okay.
The media was doing that. And that's why it rubbed me the wrong way. Because the media does a good job with playing on words. And you gotta be careful, like you explained to me, you gotta be careful sometimes when you're reading some things and how you interpret it. Because I really interpret it like, yo, the media was really trying to make the BVA the face of illegal activity. And that pissed me off. Because a lot of people read those blogs, Cindy.
Yeah.
When those blogs are published, Dorky, the blogs are read by Canadians, but everywhere read those blogs. And we have to be very careful what we put out there to the outer people who's watching these things. Especially in a time like this where every visitor that visits the BVA is very important.
Every entity should be responsible.
Facts
for their
too.
words. Dirk.
Dog, tell me.
My take on it is, I think some of this stuff is blown way out of proportion, to be honest, in regards to His Excellency the Governor, and nothing against him, nothing against the
of course
Honorable
not.
Premier or anyone, but I think the public at this point is kind of growing tired of seeing a big urinating competition between grown men. You know,
Like a
and
pissing contest.
and I don't know what all of the dynamics are behind of it. But there seems to be some kind of, you know, back and forth, tit for tat. But in regards to, what, like, for instance, when the governor spoke about, I'll go back a couple of weeks, reparations and these things. And I'm hearing local persons and residents kick up about, oh, the governor said this. I'm like, where did he say anything wrong? Honestly, because he simply stated that the UK's position on reparations is this, and he does not see it changing. He is being truthful, he is being forthcoming. I didn't read anything in there having to do, I didn't feel any energy in terms of racism or any of these things.
Well, you know,
He's
there's an entire entity out there that is pushing that agenda, and they're on all. I can't even say they're on 100. They're on 300, and
Well, everyone
it's-
has an agenda.
Yeah,
I don't think he's racist.
it's unfortunate though, because the message is lost when you have
Yes.
people like, I don't have to say, you know, I don't call him the Honorable Claude Skelton Klein, and you have Vino, and you can see they work together because they write every article after, and they are trying to make an impression, you know, on the people. And
There's one article I saw, Cindy, that stated something that made me chuckle, made me smile. I'm like, and it labeled the governor as the highly or unpopular or
Yeah,
something
unpopular.
like that.
I
I'm like-
posted about that
I'm like,
yesterday.
So if your perception or your thought that the governor is wildly unpopular, does that reflect the thought process
Of everybody.
or the perception of the entire country? No, it doesn't.
But that's
I don't see the
irresponsible
gentleman
media.
as being
Facts.
exactly.
So that's what-
who did you do a
Facts.
survey to find out that he's unpopular?
But-
That
and-
is
but you see,
irresponsible
and
media, though.
these are the dangers in
Yes.
these things because
Facts. Exactly.
they don't speak for me, for sure.
Exactly.
Facts. Even it's back and forth. You can't speak for the whole territory where you're
Correct.
saying you need to take this thing. No. If you looking for independence, say you're looking for independence. This whole keeping it on, no, come out and say what you want.
Facts.
If you plan to be the first prime minister of the Virgin Islands, just say so.
Facts.
If that is your intent.
And,
I have no problem
and
with
let
that.
the people know when it comes to
Let the people
independence,
know. I have no
that's the
problem with
people's
that.
decision.
But
And
you
that's-
take these things to a referendum and you let the people decide the course going forward. Simple as that.
That's why the conversation in terms of platforms is so important to me. And sometimes things come out and I don't say anything yet, you know, because I have to think about the right way to say something. So when I say something, it's impactful and I can stand on those words, right? So
Yes.
NJAR and I had a long conversation this morning when we were waiting. And, you know, I pointed out some things to him in terms of his post. We have to be very careful, okay? We're at a time when we're calling on everything inside the BVI to be accountable. We need good governance. Money has been running around the BVI for a long time now, unaccounted for. And the least of that is drug money,
Facts.
right?
Yes.
So the governor is simply saying, we need to get this in check. And
what's wrong
sometimes
with that?
nothing, and that's why I was really disturbed by the kickoff,
That's
right?
what I don't
Because
understand. What's
I
wrong
was
with it?
thinking, well, we're asking for accountability, but then I realized we don't understand how deep that pie goes.
Facts.
Yes.
Okay? I've
as
called
I
for
said earlier,
everything inside
Cindy.
the government and high-ranking positions to be audited every year.
But see,
And it needs to everything down to customs, down to everything needs
Yes,
to be
there's a
audited.
lot of
Understand?
unexplained wealth
Why
in the
is we
BVI
why
that
are
needs
we
to
in the
be
year
explained.
2020 and we don't have an integrity commission in the
Facts.
British Virgin
Right.
Islands?
But Sydney, let's be totally honest. Let's be totally honest, though, please, right? When 85% of the public see unexplainable wealth, the first thing that comes to their mind is what?
That is. But we need to start thinking a little deeper.
No, I'm just telling you. So
Okay.
that's why it kind of rubbed them the wrong way,
Yeah.
because that's the first thing they think about.
But why should that rub you the wrong way, though?
Because that happens everywhere.
It happens everywhere, but the BVI is the
But-
one getaway train that I see.
But we
that
all need to understand
everybody
that
wants to do everything,
the-
do their own thing.
the Virgin Islands has not changed geographically, as far as I know, over the past
Okay.
set of decades or
Right.
hundreds of
Facts.
thousands of years. We have always been prone to being a transshipment
Right.
point for illegal activity, including
Right.
drugs. Nothing has changed.
Right.
So the thing is, when you're talking about unexplained wealth, and we have to be real. These things exist, but it's the same thing, and that's the media's job. And the next thing with news sites and newspapers, some are news sites, some are tabloids. You have to understand the difference. We
Yeah.
all know who is tabloids.
It's disheartening, and you have
it's
to be
the
very
job.
careful.
It's
Facts,
the job
facts, facts,
of other
facts.
countries. Like if you look at America, the US, they want their money, they want their taxes. Look
Facts.
at when things like FATCA were put in place.
Facts.
And now you look at the end of the day, we still in the same spot geographically, as I said, as a transshipment point, right? We're prone to these things, the USVI as well, all of these islands in the Caribbean chain. So when you're talking about unexplained wealth,
Unexplainable wealth.
unexplained wealth, I mean, you could look at some person and say, well, okay, this person may not have worked a job in how long. Now, here's my thing. If you have nothing to hide, hide nothing.
Facts.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
if you inherited those 20 acres, no problem.
Show
Let's
the
just see.
paperwork.
Why is that
Show
a
the
problem?
paperwork,
But
NJAR, we
also
have to
we
be
have to
careful
understand,
with
like
our
I was saying
platforms.
with America, right? They look the same. Remember, they call us a tax haven and all these things, right? A lot of them are hypocritical as well. Those other countries. Look at
Yeah.
the US. You can go to a state like Delaware and
Correct.
incorporate a company with not even due
Correct.
diligence and stuff.
Correct.
So we have to also be mindful that it's a cat and mouse game.
Of course. Of
You know,
course. Of
we
course.
have to be mindful. It's just reality. These are how things works.
We just need to operate within our laws.
Yeah.
We need to put the right legislation
We
in
need
place
to keep it real
do
with ourselves.
right, to do the right things and not be upset that the governor and because he's white.
Well, I'm not upset.
Yeah, I'm gonna just ask my team to give me just maybe an extra 5 or 6 minutes because I want to ask these guys 2 quick questions. Okay, we see the Cayman Islands has managed their constitutional review in a politically mature way. What is it about the BVI that prohibits a proper and routine functioning of these types of matters? In your eyesight, you know they've done their constitutional review. It's completed. They're now gonna be parliamentarians, MLAs. We're still here. You know, the premier can't even tell us who the committee is that is going to take us towards this constitutional review. But we're constantly cursing the governor and, you know, our agenda
I'm gonna
of
let Dirk answer that
independence and so forth.
Well, there's unfortunately, especially living in a small society, Cindy, there's going to always be unjust and undue political interference
Facts.
in everything, right? Even you look at these boards for different places, statutory bodies, understand where the power lies, you know. He who controls the flow of information controls the narrative. He who controls the members of these boards controls said entities and agencies and stuff like that. So that's, at the end of the day, where you're supposed to have, for instance, persons having autonomy over certain, you know,
you have one person controlling everything.
Basically.
I can say it for you. I take the
it's
heat
more
on
than-
Cut Deep.
It's
so
more
I can
than
say it for
it's
you.
more than one person, you know. Like I say all the
Yeah.
time, you always have these shadow persons, this shadow government in the background. You have this cabal, these persons. Like I tell people all the time, you think the premier is the most powerful person in the Virgin Islands? Far from it. There are persons where I can guarantee you he's very wary and afraid of. Not afraid in terms of maybe physically, I don't know. But I'm saying there are persons that pull the strings. There are persons that have so much reach. Their reach goes so far, they're so powerful that even him have to find a way to get around them. So, you know, things happen like that. But at the same time too, one person having too much power is a problem, because when you can control the persons that sit at these different boards, that's also an issue.
You know, Cindy-
and that's why I want to push for things in this country. We need legislative reform,
Yep.
because I want to see term limits. That's one of the things I definitely want to see for
Facts.
politicians.
Facts.
How you want to say, and age limits as well, because how you want to say you want to send home all fathers and grandfathers and grandmothers and parents at 60, 65 years old, but you want to be 80, 85 years old in office.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
absolute power.
Corrupts.
All right.
Absolutely.
You see me basically just to add on to what Dirk is saying. I think that we just need to get a job done. And as I'm saying, forget about who related to who. Who like this person. Like I think we are afraid to step on some toes to get a job done. That's why I like about Cut Deep.
Because everybody's afraid
You know
to
what I'm saying?
offend. Everybody's afraid to be an individual. You know the biggest issue we have in this country, to me, what we have to find it, and I don't know, I don't even think it'll be this generation. It might be our children
Facts.
after, because too many of us are so stuck in our ways,
You know-
right? The issue we have in the BVI is we are not a true democracy. We are
Right.
part democracy.
Correct.
We are
Correct.
part democracy, part oligarchy.
Yeah.
We don't have a government problem. We have a family problem.
Yeah,
You-
but I
It's an
also did
oligarchy.
some research on even how our system is set up, and it's not a true democracy. And that's why
Exactly.
my next series in season 3, I'm going to have 4 series on our civic duty and so forth, because I don't think people really understand. I miss a few things too. So I think there are people who really just don't understand how our whole system works, and it's time to re-educate
Facts.
towards turning this animal around. That's a getaway bull. We need to reel her in.
I want to touch on something quick because I know we don't have much time. Doc, you made a very, very, very outstanding point just now as it relates to people walking at the top of these different positions until 75, 80. Now, we like to speak about the young people. We like to say that the young people are the future. You know, without the young people's contribution, we can't move up. But hold on, we're not making the proper room for young people to grow. If you understand what I'm saying, we have people that go away, they become qualified, they get a master's, they
There's no space
invest
for them to come in
There's no
and come
space
up.
for them to come in, and not only come in, but you would bring back somebody who's retired from government.
And give them a
Hold on.
consultation or a
I
contract.
come into that. they put in 25 years,
Sometimes 40.
and you bring them back, they gain a pension. Listen to what I'm saying, stay with me. They gain a pension, and they still gain a private salary, if you understand what I'm saying. So, I'm 30 years old, you're a little older than me. Where is my time to invest my knowledge?
Yeah.
Why went away to gain into my Virgin Islands?
Not only that,
Yeah.
while you're there still under them, there's never any proper succession planning.
I was,
Yeah.
okay, I was just going to say that, and to be honest, right, I have no problem with anybody coming in to teach us, because at the end of the day, no man is an island.
Yeah.
You don't know it all, I don't know it all,
Correct.
Doc, you don't know it all.
Yeah.
But this is my problem. I don't mind you coming in. We welcome everybody from any place in the world. Come in. But there has to be proper successor programs where somebody underneath this person can learn what this person knows, so that person can take that role, and in the next 5-6 years that person can then train this person. There are no proper successor programs in place to train us. It goes back down to investing in your own, giving your own opportunities, educating your own because you have to build through your own for your own. That's it.
But the thing is, we have to be the ones that make it happen.
Yeah.
Because the three of us could sit down here and speak on these things. But you know the rest.
I wanna
You know the
close
chap.
off on this question.
You know the chap.
There's a huge culture of victimization. You really see it under the VIP, and I've said to people in the lead up to the election that the government that I know for victimization has always been that green team. I'm gonna say it loud and clear. If they want to take my job tomorrow, they could do that. And the premier, on the opposition for HS, he talks about it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He talked about the corruption under the NDP, etc., etc. And now these things are on the forefront. I know this is cut deep. These things are on the forefront. Do you guys consider the VIP hypocritical?
Cindy, let me just say this, right?
There we go.
And this is a general statement.
Make it quick.
Of course, because this is cut deep, this chair is kind of hot. Victimization can only happen to those who are afraid to be victimized. That's what I'm going to say. Victimization can only happen to those who are afraid to be victimized.
So do you
If
think
we
the
hold
premier
on-
is a hypocrite?
I won't say that.
Is he consistent?
I won't say he's a hypocrite.
Is he consistent?
In what way?
In terms of victimization and corruption, is he a hypocrite? We've watched him on the opposition for 8 years talk about these things. We know what we're feeling now. Is he a hypocrite?
This is
cut deep.
This is why they call it
You re-
politics,
you
because
re-
my whole thing is,
Pull back.
Voila.
if you want to call another person's statement of perceived or alleged corruption irresponsible, but you were the one when you were on the other side
Right.
calling that administration at the time the most corrupt, this and that. And I'm like, I'm
So
just
it's
sitting back like,
hypocritical. It's hypocritical. Dirk, are you entering the political field next time around?
yeah, man, they gotta get ready for me. I'm gonna be there boss soon.
Woo!
No.
Is that on your...
Is it on my agenda? Yes. Right now, no. Because once you throw your hat in the political arena, be
Victimization?
prepared to be victimized.
Again, that
But
one word?
My whole thing is, I'm not afraid of
But
a
I'm not
soul.
afraid
The only
to be
thing,
victimized.
let me speak to the camera quickly. The only thing Dirk Walders, I'm afraid of is not doing when I know I could have done.
Facts.
Not speaking out. I will continue to be the voice for the voiceless.
But-
And I don't care what premier, what governor, whatever. I hold my head high with integrity and dignity in everything I do. And I plan to represent the people of this country.
But though,
the real way.
before we go, right? And thank you again, Sydney, for
30
having me.
seconds.
30 seconds. I just want to say this one thing, right? Now, when you take your hat off, and I know you could attest to this, you might not care about victimization. We don't care about victimization. We could make it any place.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But you don't want your livelihood to be ruffled because you choose to enter politics. I think that's wrong. It's like why I said that's totally wrong. Because you vouch to represent your country, I don't think you should be victimized because you want to run with this party or that party.
Shouldn't
It's like
is
what I
one
say.
thing, but reality is the other.
So, to answer
Yeah.
your question, Cindy, yes, there is victimization in the BVA. I've seen it before. It doesn't matter which government. Victimization, it happens in the BVA. It happens worldwide. It is a problem.
I think people
It
take the
does,
politics too personally a lot
Especially,
of the time
yes,
as well.
and we're too small
personal,
for that.
yeah.
And that's why we need certain legislations like the whistleblower and so forth to protect us. I want to thank you guys for being on the show. We've gone 7 minutes over time.
pleasure
I
was
want to
all
thank
mine.
my team. We know how these discussions can get, but I want to
Thanks.
continue to encourage you to use your platform for the betterment of the BVI because we all live here.
Thanks.
And we can only be better if the BVI is better. So the BVI is really our foundation for building on. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. We're going to see you next week. And then the other week, we're going to close out the season for this year. Thank you.